This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5 times the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pierce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pierce, and you are locked in
to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, tell like country muscle. If you sell a lot of tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the band, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you wait down with that, then I got 2 is what you suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, hold another cup. Let's be busy 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
Hey guys, Tony Schiavone here, making chicken salad. That's sure gonna put some butts in seats.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. Put a square peg in a round hole, just never seems to fit.
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. I am a Starrcast Media Pass holder, Lachlan Albert, and I am joined by 2 AAA Starrcast ticket holders, you jerks. First of all, the poor man's Dave Meltzer, Todd Eastman. Todd, how you doing, mate?
I'm not bad, mate. Look, we were just given them. We didn't request them. We were just given them.
I know. I'm the third man as usual. Got to be bloody Hogan.
And hey, to be fair, mate, before you introduced our most esteemed colleague, you did 3/4 of the interviews on the Starrcast special that's going to be coming out when I eventually get the footage to cut together. So, third man you are not, sir. Roving reporter Lachlan Albert.
Yeah, that's me. And the man who did none of the interviews because he was too busy organizing multiple comedy shows over the weekend. It's the brain behind WrestleBrania, Jeff Setti. Jeff, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. But we should expose the reason why you weren't given a AAA pass. I think we should pull the curtain back. We should pull this back and expose this baby. And it's because, and I quote, you said that Cody Rhodes is a heel. That's the entire reason you are not AAA.
We have listeners everywhere, Lachlan.
I'm right, and everyone. Okay. No, you're not. Look, Tim.
You know, there's another show coming up soon, mate. You're going to get dropped back down to like gold or something if you keep going.
Tim Wilkes saying congrats on not killing each other on the weekend. Thank you, Tim. Came close on a couple of occasions, I'll tell you what. But that's right, we were together.
Look, I could have gotten 1-800 Lasagna to put something in there, but I restrained myself. Todd's still drooling about it.
I really am. I swear, I was only thinking about it today. I was telling someone at work about it.
I tell you what, I would take some sponsorships for this show. 1-800 Lasagna does not have to pay a thing. We will spread 1-800 Lasagna.
Oh, yeah.
Look, the reason that we are talking like old men who from the Melbourne area is because for the first time ever, the 3 of us were together in person. So if you are subscribed to the podcast feed, you would have heard for the first time ever, episodes of Making Chicken Salad recorded in person. The 3 of us in the same room. Absolutely unreal. Yeah, Tim Wilkes says the Cody is a heel would have been enough for bad things to happen. Yeah, very true.
Look. To be fair, the ones with the three of us in the room together, probably not our best work because we were tired as buggery for the whole of those things. Probably not our best form, but still, it was good to do.
A 1 a.m. recording after a full day of wrestling stuff, it's gonna get you, right? But it was a blast hanging out with the two of you for a weekend, and the reason we did it was because of Starrcast Downunder, presented by OPW down in Ballarat in association with Visit Victoria. So obviously, if you've kept up to date with the shows we've been putting out, you would know some of what was going on down there. We had Mickey James Presents Her doing an awesome women's show. Then there was the OPW presenting the Australian Stampede, Bret Hart's Australian Stampede, which was a men's show on the Saturday night. And we put up reviews for both of those shows. Again, listen with caution because it was recorded at 1 a.m. after we got home to Melbourne. But on top of that, there was also a bunch of meet and greets with some incredible wrestlers, both Australian and international, some really cool panels. And what we haven't talked about on the pod was how we polished it off on the Sunday by going and seeing Bret Hart speak live, talking about, the specifically the Owen Hart match that he had, that it was the 30th anniversary of, which is really exciting, but also just about, all of that cool stuff Bret Hart gets to talk about, so that was pretty amazing. And as well as
I don't know. I don't know if I recall, because it was 1 a.m. Did we actually talk about like WrestleBrania before Stampede? Because I don't know if we did. I can't remember. Like I said, 1 o'clock in the morning.
But there was not one but two WrestleBrania shows over the past weekend. One taking place at Starrcast, one taking place at the Catfish for the Melbourne Comedy Festival. I think normally you see Jeff on all of those shows. But across the other two shows, there were three Wrestle Radio Australia appearances, other than Jeff.
Actually, 4.
Well, 4. A surprise 4th as well, yeah.
There were 4. Because someone on this podcast paid off my referee. Someone.
I was a score. I was merely a score and an objective sports scorekeeper, my friend. I can't help it. I had no paper, and the only thing I had to write a score on was a $20 note. I can't be blamed for that.
It wasn't Welchie who gave you that $20 note, was it?
No. And the referee needed data, so I had to help him out.
Sure he did.
So
there were 4 appearances over the weekend.
That's right. WrestleBrania was an absolute blast both nights, including especially the one that happened at Starrcast, which featured Jordan Grace and Jody Threat, which was something special. And then the Sunday show involving tag teams with the tag team of, I almost said a shoot name there. It got very close. Very close. The Ambush, represented by Jarvis and Murdoch, along with BDE. Though Ricky looked a little weird. Something going on with Ricky there.
He looked like this bloke from Queensland with reddish hair. Chestnut hair, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jumping quickly there.
Don't know what happened there.
Yeah, no, not sure. But look, WrestleBrania was an absolute blast. It always is. So before we go any further, Jeff, is there more WrestleBrania to come in the near future?
Yeah, there is. Sunday night, we're doing a post-Renegades after party at 7:30 at the Catfish. WrestleBrania at night. What the heck's going to happen? We have Tommy Hellfire going up against Crackerjack. And if you've seen WrestleBrania with Crackerjack, it's not like your normal stuff, because Crackerjack is a loose unit. And that is said in a complimentary sense.
Sorry, Jeff. My notes here say Cracklejack.
Sorry, Lachlan. I've got a note here for you. There it is.
Yeah, there it is. So look, Starrcast was absolutely phenomenal. I will mention, I think I accidentally started a feud with Edward Dusk. over the weekend.
He's pissed at you, bro.
Accidentally start a feud with that dangerous fella.
Stupidly. Real dumb.
Somebody might have dimed him out a bit. I'm not going to name names, but somebody might have dobbed him in just a little bit.
Well, I didn't speak to Dusky on
somebody.
Somebody
to the left of me on this screen.
Somebody might have happened to mention in passing that Lachlan was cheering for the Pariah as well, just in passing.
Lachlan, you don't feud with Edward Dusk. You do not feud with that man.
I don't think is correct. I don't think I was cheering for the Pariah more than I was cheering.
I'm pretty sure. No, I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure that's made up to get me in trouble with Edward Dusk. No, but you know what?
I can't imagine
that matter is probably going to resolve itself with my severe injury or death. So there's no point lingering on it too long. Thanks Todd crossing his fingers. But this is what I mean. That's the kind of weekend Starrcast was. It was an insane chance to interact with all these wrestlers, including, people like Jordan Grace, people like Shelton Benjamin, the great Carly. When do you get chances to see people of this caliber? And that's not to mention the insane names like Bret Hart and Eric Bischoff, who both had awesome premium stage shows, a cracking weekend capped off by some excellent wrestling during the nights. I thought it was great fun.
And it's worth mentioning that the Australian talent represented as well. They looked as good as anybody. Having Erica Reed against Lizzie was great. I thought this was a terrific event, and getting that Australian talent and that amount of Australian talent from all kinds of companies. We were a little surprised when Asia brought out the Renegades title, but it's great to see. So, all kinds of companies were well represented, and that's lovely. That gave me a warm fuzzy to begin with before anything else.
I'm actually interested to know, because I was just thinking about it then, because I know, Lachlan, you're not a massive fan of Eric Bischoff. Did that sort of panel change your perspective on him from the little sound bites you always hear on X and stuff like that?
I don't know if it's fair to say I'm not a huge fan of Eric Bischoff. He's so not someone who was relevant while I was watching that all I end up hearing is the controversy creates cash line. And then looking back, I see WCW, which the narrative is, because WWE won the Monday Night Wars, that WCW was a train wreck for most of its existence, right? That's the narrative I've been brought up with. So I have never really had the opportunity to see the intelligent, business-minded Eric Bischoff, the creator of great wrestling content. But seeing him on that stage, I got the chance to see just how insightful he is and how clever he is with what he thinks about wrestling. And not only that, he was very funny, very entertaining, really well-spoken. And like Tim Wilkes said, Easy was very impressed with Australia, which is always good to hear, And it seems like everyone that was there had a great time. Keanu reviews in the chat saying Starrcast definitely was one of the best wrestling weekends. And I fully agree.
Also, I know that both of those panels, the Bischoff and the Hitman one, are going to be on Triller soon.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic.
So, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, so
because I was on the Saturday, as you both know, I was too busy chasing Jordan and Jody to go to the Bischoff one, and the Sunday I had no chance because it was WrestleMania prep takes a while. Keanu, I do want to note you've said WrestleMania at Starrcast was great. I loved it. Thank you so much. It was wonderful having you in the room, mate. And come back soon because we'd love to see you very, very, very soon. So thank you.
Absolutely. So once again, thank you so much to Starrcast and to OPW, to Cam Vale for putting on such an excellent weekend of wrestling. Just quietly, I've got my fingers crossed that Queensland Tourism is going to outbid Victoria Tourism for the next one, and we can have it up here. But regardless, I can't wait for whatever comes next for Starrcast Downunder, because it was an awesome, fun weekend.
Crazy talk. Starrcast belongs in Victoria.
And of course, OPW will be back. OPW is going to be back to Ballarat very soon, August 30th to September 1st for Gold Rush. So that's going to be a huge return for them, especially now that they've crowned some #1 contenders and stuff like that. So there's going to be some very exciting stuff going on there. Any other closing thoughts on Starrcast before we move on?
No, I should thank all of the platinum holders and other guests that came and saw WrestleBrania, because it was lovely having you all in the room, as well as performing alongside you guys. I thought the whole event was really well run. I thought most of the panels ran to time. I thought the production values were good. I think that Conrad couldn't make it and Hobbs couldn't make it, which dropped 2 panels, but it was still kind of nice. Everybody was so friendly as well. All those wrestling fans were wonderful. It was nice to meet Jamie from Oz Wrestling Cards and Perea magazine. And also hold up the big gold belt, which you did as well, Todd, and that was really lovely. So listen to those 2 episodes as well, because we do go into in depth in the cards in those.
Don't listen too closely.
Not too closely.
Yeah, bearing in mind it was 1 in the fucking morning.
Oh yeah, it sure was. And here we go. Michael Lee coming in with the comment: over 7,000 tickets sold over the 4 days. Cam created something truly special, and nothing felt lacking in spite of people unable to attend. Yeah, fully agree with that. An absolutely stacked weekend, and can't wait for the next one. Moving on, though, that's not the only big event that's happened in Aussie wrestling these past couple of weeks. MCW had one of their biggest shows in a while with ICON dollars. Icons, I think it's supposed to be pronounced, but the S is a $sign, just to cash in on that Kesha fame. Look, MCW Icons is available right now on streamhorizon.com.au for $9.99, so you can head on there and buy that. Or if you're subscribed to the former Fight TV, now Triller, you can go to that and stream it there. We're going to run through and talk about each of these matches. So we'll start with the top. And the first thing that happened on this card was, well, before we do, is there any thoughts that we need to get across the show? Other than I thought it was a pretty good show.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, it was a good show. Yeah.
I didn't watch the stream. Obviously, I've been a bit time poor with Comedy Fest, but I saw it live. So
yeah, absolutely. So the first match on this card was prefaced by I guess, new member of Icons in the form of Jarvis, who came out and announced that now that we've got the general manager, Rocky Monero, as a tag team champion, he's going to need some help. So Jarvis is the new junior assistant director of general management. And that means he's got
junior vice president of general management.
Sorry, thank you, Todd, for having that written down. Which means that he's got some control over the show, which is why the show kicked off with the MCW World Heavyweight title match, with Slex defending that championship against Emin Usman. Jeff, what was this one like in the building?
It was pretty good. It was, how do I put this? It was very much a great way to get Jarvis in front of that crowd and generate that heat, because he does still generate a fair chunk of heat. Emin, as we said on the weekend, is so athletic and so much fun to watch. And, you know, Slex is, you put Slex in with pretty much anyone, it's going to be a good match. And this was, it was nice. And the ending just showed how much of a bully Slex is.
Absolutely. Todd, what did you think of this matchup for the heavyweight title?
I think it was a really good, like, bully versus little underdog sort of match. It was designed to get Slex some heat, because even though if Slex acts a bit like arrogant and acted a bit like that, he was still getting cheers from fans last show. He was still getting those pops. So if you're going to put him in there with someone as loved as what Emin is for that crowd, and just let Slex beat the ever-loving crap out of him, that's going to elicit the heat that they need if that's what was going to happen going forward for this group. And to that end, it really worked well.
And I think Emin is so fantastic in that role. Obviously trained by Carlo Cannon, who's such a big dude. And when they've done, their matches together, you see the clips of Carlo just tossing Emin across the ring going viral. And so it's not a surprise to me that Emin is really good at making someone like Slex look really powerful and really mean. It's impossible not to root for Emin. So I think this was almost an essential title match in solidifying that heel turn for Slex. Following that one up, Robbie Thorpe in another losing effort, someone who has not managed to gain a win at MCW yet, this time suffering the wrath of Edward Dusk, something I'm liable to do in the near future and not looking forward to it. I thought it was really clever the way they built towards the finish of this match. Obviously, Dusk's finish comes from the electric chair position. So repeatedly going to that electric chair position and having Robbie fight out of it was an interesting way to build drama for that finish. I really liked that. And Dusk is over as a face.
He's not yet. He will be, but the crowd weren't sure who to cheer. And the reason the crowd weren't sure who to cheer in this one is because Robbie is kind of still feuding with Rocky. Maybe not. We don't really know. The door hasn't closed on that. And Dusky just beat up Brooksy, who's now a heel, but is Dusky a heel because he still wants the championship. It's all they could have done a 3-minute in-ring promo at the beginning of the night and then be booted out by Jarvis to solidify Dusk as a face. And all it took was Dusk comes out and says, I want Robbie straight away. And the Icons come out and beat the shit out of Dusk. And you move it to the second half. And you make Dusk a sympathetic babyface by, is he going to be all right to wrestle? I know that that's not within Dusk's character traditionally, but this whole thing was really confusing for the crowd.
Yeah, literally my notes for this were, this is a hard one for me psychology-wise because I don't exactly see Dusk as a face yet, and I have no incentive to cheer Thorpe. Yeah. So I was sort of like in a position where I'm just watching the match and like listening to the crowd. It felt like the crowd was the same. They're like, well, I'm not quite sure. Like Dusk is cool, but he's not he's not a nice guy. He's just been through tearing people to shreds for the last year. So I at the end of the match, I like Dusk more because the way they worked it out and all of that. It was a good match, but it didn't blow my doors off. It wasn't like, yeah, these guys are the it and a bit going forward. You know what I mean? And to your point, Jeff, they could have done that with the Icons, but that would have really accelerated Dusk's move towards
for
title.
sure.
Whereas at the moment, I think they're just sort of slow burning him that way.
I mean, but saying that, it was the two of them are really good in ring, so it was an enjoyable match.
Yeah,
but it's just that the crowd didn't know which way to go. For a while there, they were cheering Robbie very vociferously, and then for a while there, they were cheering Dusk, and then I think there's a point in the match where they kind of go, "Let's just watch the match."
Yeah, see that, and on this show tonight, on this show, there were 2 matches that were like that.
Yeah.
And they were back to back.
Yeah. So we'll get to that one in a second. I wonder if just how much I like Dusk's work kind of penetrated through and seeing him wrestle more as a face, especially when you add in him as a face winning the tag championships in OPW last weekend. Maybe I was just much more ready to buy into him as a face. Because when he starts wrestling that more face style, I was like, okay, great, I'm here for it.
Yeah, he was
honestly
he was a face in PCW for a lot of years. So, I think the man
PCW is much harder to watch from Brisbane, so I've never really seen him as a face.
Yeah,
I obviously believed that he would be good at it. I've just never had that exposure. But I think I agree with what you're saying, Jeff, that having Icons do a beatdown on Dusk would have solidified that face turn. But I also fear that Icons were spread across this show a lot already. I know the show's named after them, but and look, Paria magazine said it exactly right. Dusk is simply too good not to get behind, right? Like
Absolutely.
That's the thing. Even in the heel character, when he was doing the someone remind me what the gimmick match was called. The Sanctum, the
Sacrament.
Sacrament. Thank you. When he was doing the Sacrament, it was so compelling that even though he was a heel, you got excited when he came out because what he was doing was so good. Right?
He was already getting a number of cheers in that format. I am hopeful that they don't just completely drop the Sacrament, because it's a nice, it works. It's nice. It's a trademark. It's something that makes Dusky different from anybody else.
That could be used as a way to end a feud now. Do you know what I mean? Like they'll go through all this stuff and and Dusk will go, fine, you and me in the Sacrament match.
Yeah, I like that a lot. The reason I mention that Icons were across this show a lot was because before the opening match, after the opening match, Tommy Knight came out with the intent to challenge Slex that he's earned the right to do after his victory in the Ballroom Brawl. However, what's the exact job title there, Todd, for Jarvis?
It's a Junior Vice President of General Management.
He decided that Tommy could earn the right to challenge Slex if he defeated Caveman Ugg in their match. Caveman Ugg and Tommy Knight put on what I have to describe as big meaty men slap and meat, because they were big meaty men slap and meat. But this one ended in a no contest when Slex interfered and hit both of them with the heavyweight title belt. So obviously we've got Tommy Knight, the former tag team championship partner of Slex. We've got Caveman Ugg, who is a mainstay in MCW, both putting on huge performances in this match, and Slex taking them both out sets up a lot of intrigue for the future. What did you think of this bell-to-bell, Todd?
Very much like Dusk and Thorpe, but in a different way. Like they were both, like Ugg is amazingly over with that crowd.
Yeah.
Like they love Ugg. So when Knight came out, and Knight almost tended to go a little bit heel-wise to counteract how over Ugg was, and it sort of plays against what the story is at the moment going into that show. Like going into, like in MCW, if we're looking at MCW as a whole, like Tommy is supposed to be the babyface ex-partner of Slex, who wants that title now. So, like, inherently, he's a babyface. He was leaning into more of working the crowd, which is good because you want to work the crowd, but that lent him to being more of a heel, which didn't lend itself to the ongoing story, which was a bit weird, bit weird for me. There was also like again, this was like you said, big meaty men slap a meat. But there were sort of like parts where it just looked like positioning was a little bit off, or there was one point where I think something had happened, and I think it was Ugg came out of the corner and his back was towards Tommy, but Tommy wanted to do a thing where he ducked under him and then hit him with a German, whereas Tommy could have just ran up and hit him with the German, but he had to wait for him to turn around so he could do the cool move with the duck around and back around. And just stuff like that throws me out a little bit, if that makes sense. Because I'm just like, well, why wouldn't he just run up and grab the guy and suplex him? He was right there. Why do the duck under for the suplex when you were going to do that anyway? It's not little things like that, but that's just, again, that's me being like pedantic and fucking hyper focused. It was a good match. It was a hard hitting match. I just don't think it got the business done that was intended. Like that, I don't think that Tommy looked stronger coming out of this. And I don't know if the idea was to lead maybe into a three-way with Slex and Caveman and thing.
Yeah.
But if it was, that in itself makes no sense, because why would the bad guys who have total control over the company put 2 challengers in against Slex? There's just a lot of things a little bit off for me. That's just, again, it's probably me just looking more into it than I should be.
Jeff?
Look, I liked it. I liked it a lot. In ring, it was great. I think that the ending kind of made sense in that, Slex doesn't want either of them to risk his title. I just felt, much like Todd, and I agree with you, the crowd weren't sure who to really get behind. We've been told to get behind Tommy, but then he's in against Ugg, and we like Ugg, so who do we cheer? And you're right, it was 2 of these back to back. I think they would have been better served having a match there, whichever one. The roster's deep enough. But having a match there and then making Ugg and Tommy for the number 30 spot at high stakes. So the number 30 spot or 20 spot of the Ballroom Brawl will go to the winner of that match, because then that really raises the stakes and gives them something to fight for. Whereas this was just, if you beat Ugg, then you fight for the title, but Ugg has no reason to win. So it just, Yeah,
see, like, I would have brought somebody in like Jake Andrew Arthur for like Tommy to go through, because Jake could lean into being a heel more and Tommy could lean into being a babyface more, whereas they wouldn't have had to fight that people already love Ugg type thing.
Yeah, but they don't know Jake like I know Jake.
I think Ugg has to look strong to defend his Bond sponsorship, right?
Yeah. I don't think that matters. Let's be honest. I don't think that matters. Eggman can win or lose and still look strong.
Cuckoo Kachoo. My hope with this is that they do something like genuinely interesting with having both of these guys looking for Slex, and do something along the lines of a triple threat match where Slex has to be pinned for the title to change hands, so that you can get an interesting back and forth of them fighting each other to get the chance to be the one who wins the title, which allows Slex to get a cheeky win in at the end by pinning one of them, right? I feel like there's interesting options from here, but I don't feel like any of them are straightforward.
No, and I understand that.
Yeah. Something that was straightforward, though, was Delta's victory over Barry O'Leary for the MCW Inter-Commonwealth title. Barry O'Leary coming out and cutting a promo beforehand that I thought was pretty good, but nothing's as over as Delta and MCW right now. Delta came in, played babyface in peril for a little bit, but then melted Barry O'Leary in time for a challenge to come in the form of Erica Reed challenging Delta for her women's championship, presumably at high stakes. What did you think of Delta versus Barry O'Leary, Jeff?
I like it. Look, Barry is so over the top as a character. Very sort of Rick Rude, Val Venus, all of those kinds of, I guess, overtones to Barry. I think Barry's a throwback, but really fun on the mic. And the interesting thing about Barry is he was a child actor on Neighbours. So he's always going to be able to do a passable to great promo. And this one was really good. He got that crowd up on him. He's also got some of the most catchy ring entrance music that you'll ever hear. He got that crowd on him, but no one in Melbourne can touch Delta. I had a conversation with Delta on the Sunday morning, while we were both on the Saturday morning, and I said, "Where's the loudest one, mate? Where's the one that tops them all?" And she actually reckons that it is at MCW. So yeah, I think this was great fun. The right person went over. It'll be interesting to see how Erica deals with Delta.
Yeah, Todd?
I think this promo from Barry fleshed out his character more than anything I'd seen so far at MCW. Like, I never really, like, before this promo, I just saw him as a bit of a comedy bimbo goof type character. Whereas after this promo, I'm like, okay, this kid's got some substance to him. This kid's got a bit of like, he can talk. He can promo. Like, I knew he could talk because he's an actor, but still, I'd never seen it before because they never really given him that 30 seconds to go on a mic and get yourself over, kid type deal. I think the match was good, but it's always going to be good when like the crowd is so far behind Delta as what they are. I like the fact that they kept her strong, but still gave like Lucky O'Leary enough offense that he looked viable. So I like that. The live stream version though, the version that was up on, or at least on Fight and on Stream Motion, sort of like cut awkwardly off at the end of the Erica, and it looked like there might have been something more or something that just sort of like cut dead to the next match sort of thing. It was just weird. It threw me straight away. I'm like, I wonder what happened there. So, but that's just an editing thing.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was just weird. Moving on.
Yeah, absolutely. After this one, we had advertised Mitch Waterman versus a member of Mick Moretti's clown posse, which turned out to be Snap, aka Blake Malik. Mitch disposed of Snap extremely quickly, which led to Jarvis coming out and announcing that his night was not over, and Crackle got a turn, which was a match that went for far longer with far more interference from the outside. Ryan Rapid, Crackle, eventually falling to the former MCW heavyweight champ. I think that we've been saying for a while Ryan Rapid is the more compelling side of this team. And it seems that MCW is aware of that, having Blake Malik do the short match and then giving the focus of it to Ryan Rapid. But I thought Mitch looked good here. Todd, what did you think?
Yeah, that first, like after that, because that first match was so quick, I actually got worried. I'm like, please don't let him just melt through both of these guys in like 8 minutes. Like, I was really worried about that. But like, I think this was sort of like, it was almost, for me, watching this match was like a coming out party for Ryan Rapid. Like, that was a really, really good showing that he put in. Of course, he had the guy on the outside helping him and all that sort of stuff. But they really gave those two some good time to work with each other. And it worked. It showed that he is a really good worker. And hopefully maybe means more for him in the future at MCW. Jeff?
Here's the Nightcrawler, right? I could see Rapid fighting for that Intercommonwealth title. In fact, I could see Rapid being the one that takes it off Delta, because it makes Rapid immediately. It makes him a freaking star. He's young. He's hungry. He is a one of the most underrated wrestlers in Australia, in my opinion, in that he can do it all. You want him to wrestle science, he can wrestle science. He'll get a compelling match out of Ugg. He clearly got a great match out of Waterman. And I mean, they had chemistry out the wazoo. Not that it's difficult. Waterman's terrific. But this was something. I thought this was a great match. And, I think that Rapid definitely will be main eventing MCW within about 3 years.
Speaking of main eventing MCW, the main event of this show was the MCW tag team titles on the line, with icons in the form of Adam Brooks and Rocky Monero defending against former champs the Pareja. This one was, very main event style, right? You had Slex on the outside who got sent to the back. You had, a ring cut in half by icons, and then eventually the hot tag comes in, but then the ref gets knocked out. Then there's cheating, and then there's a big emotional set piece where Eros is going to use the chair on Monero, but Theseus stops him, and then Monero spits at them, so Theseus lets Eros hit him with the chair, but then Brooksy comes in with the chain to knock out Eros and knock out Theseus, and then drag Rocky over Theseus and drag the ref back in. A big, bombastic main event that took up what felt like the majority of the show. I thought it was fun, but I also thought it was a lot, especially when you add in post-match icons beating down the Pareja and then having the Natural Classics come out, hit some finishes on Jarvis, and challenge icons for the tag team titles at the next show. We've made our thoughts on the Natural Classics clear, but I thought this showing up in the ring, hitting finishes on Jarvis, laying their claim was the most compelling they've been in a while, even though I'm not massively excited for the match. But I believe that Brooksy and Monero have enough charisma to make that match exciting. What did you think of this as a main event, Todd?
Yeah, you were right when you said it was a very main event match. It was very much a Rocky Monero style main event match where they're not going to go rushing into it. They're not going to put 1,000 moves on top of 1,000 moves. They're going to tell the story of what this whole thing has been between the Pareja and him. And now that he's got this new little group with him and all that sort of stuff. So they took their time with it, which was good. Like you talk about the Natural Classics and them being compelling. When they came out, that crowd didn't really care either way, unfortunately. Like there wasn't a huge pop for them running out. There wasn't a huge pop for them hitting their moves. It's sort of like, I don't know what it was like in the building. Maybe it was a bit different. Maybe the sound was a bit different. But Jeff, was the sound?
It got a little bit of a pop, but I think that was more a recognition pop than an actual yay. I think there could be some audience members who are a bit upset that they built this thing with the Pareja against the icons, and they've just gone, wham, now it's the Natural Classics. Felt a little bit jarring. And I think the audience were reacting to the jarring way that felt. But look, as a match, this was so much fun. This was so silly and so much fun. But yes, I agree. The Natural Classics probably didn't get quite the reaction the MCW management wanted.
Yeah, it's like, and it was. I completely understand with like what you're saying about like the prayer and all that sort of thing, because it looked like it's something that could have gone on for a couple of shows at least.
Yeah, but I mean, look,
like, there's probably reasons why it's happened that we have no idea about. But
I don't think this is a permanent goodbye from the Pareja. It was written very much as a see you down the road. So expect them to come back at some point and target the icons quite heavily. It could be as soon as Ballroom Brawl, but before the end of the year.
It also comes within a week of them losing the OPW tag titles as well. So it may just be hey, we might not be around Melbourne for a little while. It's a good idea for us to not have any, real locked-in commitments until we know we're going to be available for a show. And if that's the case, good on them, right? I thought it was interesting in OPW that the Pareja dropped the titles to Dusk and Gangrel, and it's like, they clearly think they can get Gangrel back, so that's good.
Wow.
They can make a video package of Gangrel dropping the belt, so that's not a major problem. But
Someone said that before. Lachlan has gone. So we will never find out what he was going to say.
That'll happen. That'll happen a lot. Oh, he's back.
Oh, he's back. So we lost you. Or
Are you there, Lachlan? I don't think he can hear us. Lachlan, oh Lachlan, wherefore art thou, Lachlan?
Wow, Shakespeare couldn't have said it better. But I thought all up, this was a good show. MCW are kicking it out of the park at the moment, and they're putting on very, very enjoyable shows. What did you think, Todd?
Yeah, like overall, as a thing, it was a really good show, and the card was strong. It's just those middle matches where you weren't sure which way you were supposed to feel for either guy, and that was a little bit, That's the only way, because that was a little bit is the only way I could really describe that. But Delta over as hell. Like you couldn't put it right before the main event because it would have just
the main event would have been completely overshadowed. And I said it's pretty incredible everywhere when as I mentioned to you, we did catch up briefly on Sunday. And she was like, I was like, how funny is it that MCW tried to bring you in as a heel and the crowd just wouldn't buy it? And she said to me, they realized within about 3 shows that, hey, this isn't gonna work. Listen to how over she is. So incredibly over. Again, if you want to catch Delta, really strong recommendation you do it soon. And you don't want to not catch her because she's that over. She's that insanely popular right now. It's phenomenal. Are we going to move on, or are we going to take a short break, Toddy? What do you want to do?
Well, let's move on because we can start talking about Renegades this Sunday. Or do you want to talk about the Friday or does Sunday first? Because Friday is PWA.
I think we should talk about the Friday first because it comes next, right? It's
yes.
Tomorrow night live on YouTube at 8 p.m. If you're not in Sydney, if you are, get tickets and go to the Spiegel tent.
No, you can't even get tickets at the moment. It's sold out now. You can put your name down in case they open up some tickets, but as of this afternoon, they sold out.
Wow, that's phenomenal. Let's look at this lineup. The Backslide Girls will perform. Now, we saw them in Ballarat. Quite entertaining, but I don't think they're there yet. I don't think they're where they need to be yet. What do you think, Todd?
Yeah, no, completely agree with you. They're
Velocities against
got a ways to go.
They are the OPW Women's Tag Team Champions.
Yes, I know.
SMS.
That is true.
Yes. Kiana will be at the Spiegel tent for PWA, so go and say hello. Velocity against SMS, always good. Then a four-way, Will Keatis versus Cherry Stevens versus Big Fudge versus Big Brother Billy. This is going to be silly, and it's going to be so much fun. Boys, any thoughts on that?
Well, on that match? You got three out. Well, all the cool thing about this four-way match is that all 4 of them have history.
Yeah.
Cherry's got history with Fudge. She's got history with Big Brother Billy. Will Keatis has got history with Cherry. She's got history with Big Fudge. There's a whole lot of things from the past that are all tangled in with this match. So there could be some really cool stuff happening in there.
I also enjoy that it's 4 goofy characters who are genuine threats in the ring. All of them have a bit of comedy to them, while all being, genuine title contenders in PWA, especially the ongoing story with Big Fudge and, the former champ, Ricky. I think that's got, some real big repercussions coming through that's going to see Big Fudge really show how big of a contender he is.
Yeah, no, completely. Also, Charlie Evans and Ben Braxton will be really good too.
Yeah, I was about to move on to that one. But I think Big Brother Billy is a good wrestler who does amazingly funny comedy. So, we'll see the entourage with Billy. It's going to be such fun. It's going to be, I'm so looking forward to that because Fudge is also an excellent comedy wrestler who can wrestle as well. As you mentioned, Charlie Evans against Ben Braxton, that's going to be insane. I'm so looking forward to that. PWA Tag Champs, Joker and the Thief, will go up against the Rogue Army.
I don't think Joker and Thief put on bad matches. Like, they are just fun to watch.
Yeah. You got two teams there that are going to be really good. It's not going to be like Velocities and see. I'm not even sure if they're still SMS because everything I've noticed in the press and that for them, they're not calling them SMS anymore. They're calling them Bell Pierce and Aaron.
Jake.
I can't remember what Jake. Thank you. So I don't know if they're still SMS now. I think they might be just Aaron and Bell. That'll be interesting to see if that is the case. The Joker and the Thief and the Rogue Army, that will be a good, hard-hitting match, I think.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
and then the top of the PWA title, Tuckman against Robbie Eagles. Are we seeing a heel Robbie Eagles? I mean, he's with TMDK, so city is in, really.
Everything leading into this has been Robbie being the angry veteran heel. So it'll be good to see him doing that. It's just a departure from the normal Robbie that we're used to seeing. I actually caught up with him earlier tonight. So there's going to be a double episode coming out. This is going to come out. And also I did a half an hour with Robbie too. So that'll come out at the same time tomorrow.
Nice.
So it was really good to talk to him.
I think
and Robbie seems like sorry, you go, Jeff.
Sorry, mate. No, you go. Because you might drop out any second, so we want to make sure
that's very true. I think Robbie Eagles is someone who knows, he seems like the kind of person who's worthy of holding the Soul of PWA title, but I think the point at the moment is to put over how good Tuckman is despite his inexperience. So I think it's going to be a really good match of Robbie showing that veteran, know-how and how to manipulate things to go his way versus Tuckman just being the classic white-hot baby face who's going to survive everything and give it back harder. I think it is set up to be a really good match.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I was going to say Tuckman cut a promo via video at the MCW show at Icons, and it didn't catch fire. But I think the thing about Tuckman is he's great live. He's so much fun to watch when you're in that building. So I think he'll make it work.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then after you, no, you're the host.
I was trying to jump back in and rehost. Then the PWA Championship will be on the line. Jessica Troy defending her championship against the prize bull Sam Osborne, or the former prize bull, I should say. The reason that that's relevant is that Jessica Troy, when she was the PWWA champion, Sam Osborne is the person who took it from her, turning it into the Soul of PWA title. So the last time Jess Troy had to defend a belt against Sam Osborne, it didn't go her way. This could be a repeat of that, or it could be Jessica Troy exercising the demons of her past. I think both of these are fantastic young wrestlers who are still proving just how good they are. It's so good seeing Sam Osborne back in the shape that he's in. I don't see this being anything less than really good. Jeff?
I would completely agree with that. Sam is such a talented worker. It's so lovely to have him back, as you've said. And it's taken him a relatively short amount of time to be back up at the top of the card. And Jessica Troy is one of Australia's finest. Let's be honest. In ring, bell to bell.
Jessica bloody Troy. Yeah.
She's Jessica bloody Troy. So I think this will be terrific. I can't see Sam winning it yet, but I can't see this feud finishing with this one. I think this one's going to have some hangover.
Yeah, Todd?
Yeah, completely agree. You know how I feel about Jess Troy. I think she's one of the best workers in the country. You talked to her for a little bit at Starrcast, which will be going up eventually when we can cut it all together. Just to like Sam is like a talent that took time away, and like I think he took time away at a point where like he had to for him, but it was like one of those things where I think he was really close to breaking through. So I'm hoping he sort of like recaptures that sort of form, because if he does, then that him and Jess will be a special match.
Oh yeah. Now, speaking of special matches, did you guys cover Renegades of Wrestling Uprising while I was out?
No,
Not yet. We wanted to wait. We thought we'll do Friday first, then Sunday, and Lachlan might make it back. I appreciate it,
considering I'm representing the Renegades of Wrestling here. Alex Fireheart says, out of curiosity, as someone who doesn't keep track of Aussie wrestling as much as I'd like, which match feels like it's had more hype, Robbie Tuckman or Jessica Sam? I'm going to pull the catchphrase here. For me, it feels like Robbie and Tuckman is the match that they have done more work to promote, whereas Jess and Sam is the match that feels like the natural, big match on the card. I don't think they need to do much promotion for Jess Troy versus Sam Osborne, because the history's there, the story writes itself, it's for the big belt. It all makes sense. Whereas Robbie and Tuckman is kind of a face versus face match with a champion who's not super established, but is playing the face against someone who's traditionally a very established face playing the heel. So I think it takes a bit more work to get the crowd where PWA wants them to be. Does that track with what you think, Todd?
Not really, because I think what it is more that Tuckman and Robbie are more likely to do promos than what Jess is.
Yeah,
which makes it sort of like you're going to see those two more because they're more prone to do promos and stuff like that than what like Sam will do a promo with Will and all of that sort of stuff, but you don't really see or hear much of Jess when shows aren't on, if that makes sense. She's
I think
quiet person.
I think Jess lets her actions in the ring talk for her. That's kind of always been Jess. Even when, she she's one of PWA's most important wrestlers, not only as the champion, but also a very important representation. She's always sort of just let her in-ring action talk for her. Always. So I'm kind of, and I like that. I'm kind of fine with the fact that Tuckman and Robbie is what the show is, if you're like sold on, as long as people show up. And apparently they are, because it's sold out.
Yeah, Keanu mentioning Robbie on the ABC radio was hilarious when Tuckman called in. So I think the answer to Alex's question is Robbie Tuckman has definitely had more promotion, regardless of which you feel is the one with more hype, right? So moving on, if that's our Friday night, and that's going to be live on YouTube, April 19th, tomorrow night at 8 p.m., coming live from the Sydney Spiegel tent, then what are you going to be watching on Sunday? Well, if you're in Melbourne, you'd be crazy not to be at Uprising. Renegades of Wrestling at Northcote Theatre is just a hell of a card. Starting from the bottom, I don't even know what the bottom is, right? Let's talk about Anth Carver versus Levi Nixon to start with. Like, that just seems like guys who are getting the chance to show how good they are. Levi Nixon with a breakout performance just recently at the Rumble, and Anth Carver, someone who a lot of people, including us, have been saying for a while is maybe people aren't recognizing just how good he is. This match could be the match of the night.
Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be very good.
Yeah, it'll be a nice chance to see what these guys have got when they might get a little bit of time to do stuff. So we'll see.
Absolutely. And then if you want something a bit crazier, Tyson Reed, the Eshe himself, is taking on... No, that doesn't say Cracklejack. That says Crackerjack. Right before Crackerjack's performance as part of WrestleBrania. That one's... Any match with Crackerjack in it's going to be chaotic. You add Tyson Reed, who's got that character focus there, but can go. Like, again, a potentially really exciting, entertaining match.
And Tyson gets a lot of heat at Renegades. Like at the last show, he got so much heat. So I think this will be fun. I think this will be a great match.
Absolutely. The Renegades of Wrestling tag.
Sorry to interrupt you, Lachlan. Of note, it was Gore that eliminated Tyson from the Rumble. And of course, we all know Gore is Crackerjack's brother. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. Just, piece of interest.
Absolutely. Renegade Wrestling tag team titles need a number one contender. That's why we've got the match of Overkill versus Funtime Phil and JXT. I think Funtime Phil and JXT are going to be an awesome team considering the work they do together at Relentless School of Pro Wrestling. And Overkill obviously working together as a team really well. This one could be, again, an absolute banger.
No doubt.
Yeah, any additional thoughts there, Todd?
Yeah, like Phil's been in really good form as of late. JXT, of course, coming off his injury, coming back hard. I like the look of Overkill. I haven't seen a hell of a lot of them, but what I have seen, I haven't minded. So it's going to be an interesting match to see.
Hookstagram has asked Todd versus Jeff Virginia match. Who will win? No one. No one will win. No one at all. Thank you.
It'll be a time limit draw.
Yeah.
There is...
Because neither of us will leave the dressing room.
There is going to be... You know who definitely won't win? The fans. The Renegades of Wrestling Women's Championship is on the line with Aisha, Tali, and Charlie Evans. This is really exciting. Aisha has obviously held that belt for a while now, with a lot of the gold currently being held by the Ambush, and we'll talk about more of that in a moment. Tali just won a 6-person match for the number one contendership for the OPW Women's Championship. Meanwhile, Charlie Evans, obviously a force to be reckoned with around the world. 3 very strong potential candidates here, and hopefully this match is really, really, really good.
Yeah, you'd hope so. I can't see them. I can't see Aisha losing this yet.
No.
I think this one stays with Aisha, especially because I think we're building up to all of the gold being held by the Ambush as a result of the Renegades of Wrestling Championship being on the line. Caveman Ugg defending against Emin Usman, the only member of the Ambush not to currently hold gold. You have to imagine the rest of the Ambush is going to be a factor in this one.
Well, Jarvis and Murdoch aren't booked, so you'd think so.
Yeah, you know what they want. They want that image to be all 4 of them holding up belts. And will we see it? There's always a chance. Like Emin, even though he's a little guy, can wrestle his ass off. It's going to be interesting to see him bouncing off Ugg for as long as this match is going to be, because that's what the majority of it will be. I assume until the tables get turned somewhat by some help.
It's going to be interesting.
Meanwhile, the return of the king, Gino Gambino, coming back to singles action in Renegades to take on Lockie Hendricks, the aspirationalist. This one is definitely 2 interesting figures going into this match. These 2, I think this is a bit of a wild card, right? This could be very strange, or it could be one of the best wrestling matches ever.
Yeah, who knows? It's very interesting.
As long as it's not being filmed for his YouTube movies, then it'll be a good match.
I think,
and
well said.
A massive return to the ring as well. Sam Yanis is going to take on the returning Royce Chambers. I am so excited to see Royce Chambers back in the ring. To me, that's the main event of this show. For me.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I mean, here's the Rogue. It's always going to be really an interesting a really, really interesting show because you've got a few things that could go either way. Okay, it makes sense to kind of keep the belt on like a bit longer, but then again, Emin winning for the ambush also makes sense. The tag match is unknown. The three-way for the women's title, look, we think it's going back to Aisha, but it's unknown. Gino against Lockie. Lockie's one of the hottest acts in the company. What do you do? It's so, it could go either way. And of course, Royce versus Sam, we want Royce to win, and he probably will. Yes, he will. I'll shut up now. Sweet new merch for Royce this weekend too, says Pario Magazine. Quite right, mate. Quite right.
Maybe, Lachlan, you can say you're going to buy it, then not rock up and buy it, just like some other person, and start another feud.
Oh, is that what you did?
Oh, come on, Todd. Look. I blame the train. If you're excited for sweet new merch, what you can do is go over to Redbubble, search for Wrestle Radio Australia. You can find our merch there, and that money doesn't go to us. It goes to Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, two charities that support men's mental health here in Australia. So don't worry, we're not profiting off that. We've talked a lot about what's happened and going to be happening in Australian wrestling, but we got the rest of the world to cover still. So we are going to talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling right after this.
I am sick of all you people not giving me the credit that I deserve. I am the best any Australian wrestler has ever been. You name them all. Slex, Adam Brooks, Caveman Hug, Robbie Eagles. I'm better than all of them. But I realize what my plan is for 2024. And it is for the aspirationalist to create a new type of fan. Fans who will respect what the aspirationalist does. Because I have hit the rockets of bottoms, but I have never reached the highest of heights, and the highest height is for the crown of King of Australian Wrestling to be put upon me, because I see you in that balcony, mate. So why don't you bring your crown down and crown the aspirationalist? The king is dead. Long live the aspirationalist.
It's him! The real king of Australian wrestling! Gino Gambino is here at Renegades of Wrestling, and he is stepping into a ring with the aspirationalist!
Gino Gambino and Walker.
He just dropped him with a headbutt! Pile driver! He spiked him! Oh my god!
He busted Lockie
Hendricks. He has busted open Lockie Hendricks! Gino Gambino! The king is back!
I really hope you enjoy tonight, Gino. Because I'm gonna ruin your life.
The last time I beat Jax, people said I cheated. I think it was smart. Do you know that no one in 7 years has beaten Jessica Troy for a belt? I've done a lot of big things in PWA, but that might just be the top. I've beaten some of the best wrestlers in the country. I've beaten some of the best wrestlers in the world. I won the PWA Rumble.
This year he comes in at number 30.
No, wait. That's good. No, it's referee Anna right on the spot.
Oh no, Osborne! Osborne! The 2021 PWA Rumble winner!
And I used that opportunity to beat Jessica Troy.
Wait, Ando didn't count the 3.
And a sustained injury there, Rose.
What is going on here? Oh no, Osborne! 1! Oh my God! The Rumble! Every match that we gave Ando the benefit of the doubt, every match that we thought he just made a mistake, he was in on it!
And then I left for a while.
So I heard you're back in town.
I'm really not the same wrestler I was 2 years ago.
You get off talking down to the little man.
I've had to deal with a lot of since then.
No.
You can't just say no.
You have earned nothing.
You don't get to just refuse just because you and I both know that she has no chance of beating you.
I've always had to deal with people calling me small.
She's obviously too small.
Too weak.
Too weak.
Too pathetic.
Too pathetic.
I had to beat 29 other people in the PWA Rumble. I had to beat everyone in that ladder match.
Can Troy right the wrong? Troy, it's your winner!
I had to beat Ricky South for this.
Troy, it's your PWA heavyweight champion!
She stands on the shoulders of all the giants who have wrestled under the PWA. The pioneer has climbed the mountain.
I'm not the underdog anymore. Sam Osborne is.
Bang. Say that again, I didn't quite hear ya. Mess with the wrong bitch in the wrong era. I've been a work and I got my badge of honor. Honey, I've changed so much since I last saw ya. Hands on my head, help every day. Cool ding ding, hold my earrings for my debut. Cause I like a punch backed into a corner. Come at me, don't tell me I didn't warn ya. Did you think I'd be easy?
It's a good package.
Thank you. Oh, you mean the video?
Shoot it up for you to dunk it. That's the one.
Yeah, really was serious to not.
I'll be back. Well, I'm not going anywhere, but I'll just do this. If you want me to turn my camera off, let me know.
Oh, I don't care, brother. You know
that. Good.
We'll be back very briefly as Jeff does his thing.
Oh dear.
But yeah, it's been it was a big weekend last week, and it's set up to be another big weekend this week. So,
and I think there's something in Melbourne almost every week through to about June. Like, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, we were talking to JT after the Australian thing, and I think he's booked up through till September or something every weekend.
Yeah, he said that.
Craziness.
So you'll be at you won't get a chance to be at Renegades, will you, Jeff? Because you sort of be getting.
No, I'll be at Renegades. I'll do everything before Renegades.
Okay.
Head to Renegades and then head out straight to the Cat.
And I tell you what,
how much of a gap is there before? Sorry, how much is there a gap before?
I think there'll be about an hour and a half. So you can go get something to eat, or preferably come to the Catfish. Come to the Catfish and grab a Philly cheesesteak, which are outstanding, by the way. They are.
I was just about to say, if you haven't been to the Catfish before, those cheesesteaks, they were quality.
So grab a Philly cheesesteak and then come back, watch the show, enjoy the show. We've also got Dave Woodhead from Triple J. From Triple J coming along. We've got one of Australia's best comedians, Michael Chamberlain, coming along. It's going to be a great show on Sunday. I'm so looking forward to it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that like it's called Sparrows. Sparrows Philly cheesesteaks, unbelievable. And the fried, what were they called? Fried
Was it fried mac and cheese?
No, it wasn't fried mac and cheese. Fried cheese bits. That was, oh my God.
Man, now I'm so hungry thinking about that cheesesteak.
Now,
yeah, I know. That was the worst part. I'm like, I'm not going to have one of those for fucking ever now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you guys ate well in Melbourne. Let's be honest. Alex Flyhart, random question to throw out there. If health froze over and WWE decided to put the IC title on women again, who would actually be a viable option to fill that spot? I'd figure Rhea would be a safe bet if that ever happens again. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's obviously
she'd be the only contender.
Well, Delta.
Oh well, yeah, but that's not for.
If she signs.
Yeah, that's not
for at least 6 months. I think that Delta is such an incredible talent. I'm just like seeing the bright potential future for her. You know what I mean? Like that. It's obviously not just something
what's
that
happened
we
with
can take on.
Yeah, what's happened with the shoulder fucking sucks. But hopefully this just means she gets to come back stronger.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Rhea comeback's going to be unbelievable, but we'll talk more about that in the show. Jeff, are you ready for me to clap? No, not Nia Jax, Keanu. I don't think Nia Jax is someone that they would consider for that spot at all.
No.
I think it would be Rhea. Anyway, clap away, Lachlan. Clap.
All right. Oh. Ooh, here it comes. Welcome back to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. Now, talking around the world of wrestling, AEW is putting on one of their big shows. This one, Dynasty, coming to you with a stacked card. Not a surprise to see an AEW show with a lot of matches. But let's go through them. We got Adam Copeland, Eddie Kingston, and Mark Briscoe versus the House of Black in 6-man tag action. We've got Will Ospreay versus Bryan Danielson. We've got the Ring of Honor and AEW Trios Tag Team Championships on the line between the Acclaimed and Bullet Club Gold. We've got the AEW International Championship on the line between Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly. The Continental Championship on the line between Kazuchika Okada and Park. The AEW World Tag Team Championship will be held in a ladder match between the Young Bucks and FTR. The TBS Championship will be Julia Hart versus Willow Nightingale. The Women's World Championship, Toni Storm defending against Thunder Rosa, and the AEW World Championship with Samoa Joe defending against Swerve Strickland. That is 9 matches. 7 of them have titles on the line.
One of them's a double title.
One of them's a double.
One of them's a double title. And they're probably going to add Hook versus good old NBA boy. Yeah, they're probably going to add that to make it 10 matches. It's too much. It's too much. It really is. But wow. I mean, look, in ring, this will be phenomenal.
Oh, that's the thing about these cards is every one of these matches has the potential to be a really fantastic match, right? Like Ospreay versus Danielson's going to be off the hook, right? My issue is, speaking of Hook, my issue is that I don't know how interested I am in watching 10 of those matches back to back.
What I often do is I'll often watch the first half one night and then watch the second, watch about 6 and then take a break and watch the final 4 matches. Just because it's too much. It's all too much.
Yeah. Todd?
Yeah, it's like we've been saying for the longest time. He's a great matchmaker. He's just not a good booker. Like you could have strung that out over like a couple of shows. Like if you did on 5 matches, 5-6 matches on a card is a good solid 3 hours of entertainment.
Yeah.
When you're throwing double that on every show, you're going to run out of fresh matchups, and that's probably why he buys the talent so much, because he needs fresh matchups all the time, because he goes through them so much on TV and then pay-per-view that he has to keep refreshing the roster so he can get the fresh matches. Roderick and Kyle seems very quick. that Kyle's just come back sort of thing, and there's no real reason that he would get this match straight away, but it seems quick. Like all of that stuff, and like Ospreay and Danielson feel buried. It's like the second thing we talked about on the card, where really that could be a main event. That should be an extra special main event. You know what I mean? It's just.
I think as Danielson's pretty much said, I've only got a short time left. They've got to make every one of his matches have that special appeal. They did that really well with Sting. I'll be honest. They did that so well with Sting. They should be doing the same thing with Danielson.
Yeah. It just feels to me that AEW have this talent to not make any one person stand out.
I mean, look, they've already done it with Okada. Who cares?
Yeah, the fact that I mentioned Okada in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've got a few questions.
Park should be great.
I got a few questions, boys. Right. Who would you put over in the championship match? Is it going to stay with Joe, or do you give it to Swerve?
Time for Swerve.
The problem is that I haven't watched enough of it lately to be able to make an informed
fair enough
decision.
I think it's time.
Do you know what I mean? Like I just at the moment I'm just sort of like AEW'd out. Like I'll watch the highlights just so I know sort of what's going on. But they've got a real chance. Like maybe if they don't give Swerve the belt, they're going to overcook him.
Yeah.
But then does it sort of like, are you cutting Joe's title reign off at the knees because this other guy just happened to get hot?
Yeah. Yeah.
But in saying that, Todd, does Joe need this title reign, and does this title need Joe right now? I would.
Where does Joe go after it though?
Where do you want Joe? He's Joe.
But like I'm asking you the question: what would you do with Joe after this? Don't just it's Joe. Like, what would you do with him creatively after this? If he's not the title holder and the gatekeeper of that title.
I put him on a losing streak.
Okay.
That just feels like Tony Khan booking, doesn't
it? Yeah, possibly.
Tony Khan would turn him away for 7 months, bring him back, turn him face, then turn him heel, then turn him face again.
Yeah,
that's what Tony Khan would do.
But the thing I kind of think is, could you say the same thing about Cody beating Roman? What do you do with Roman then?
Well, Roman was always going to go away for a while.
Roman's gone away for a while.
Yeah,
like everyone knew that was what was going to happen.
But my point is that the AEW roster is so stacked, you don't need Joe in the main event to make it important.
Yeah, but you don't have anything for Joe to go on with. Like Roman, when Roman comes back, he's got something to go on with that isn't Cody.
Mate, they don't have anything for half the roster to go on with. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's just next week. That's just next week. Yeah. By the way, today we had Ospreay against Claudio on a fucking Wednesday.
Yep, exactly right. Like Hangman Adam Page isn't on this card. I can't remember if he's out injured at the moment, but he was their champion not all that long ago, right?
It seems the only people who really get to go out there regularly are Moxley and Jericho.
Yep.
Yeah.
And guess who's not on this show? Big Mox.
Mox isn't on the show at the moment.
Well, let's move on to the news then, because the big news about Mox, John Moxley won the IWGP title at Windy City Riot. Bless you, Jeff.
Thank you.
What do we think about the world's biggest bleeder being the IWGP title holder?
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they seem to like it. Apparently he cut an impassioned promo on Dynamite tonight. I haven't watched it yet, so I couldn't tell you.
That guy always has an impassioned promo.
It was very good. It was very good. I don't quite agree with you, Keanu. Keanu said Moxley winning helps New Japan get the traction it needs. I don't quite agree with you. I don't know what New Japan has to do to get the traction. I think that this is simply done to get viewers on AEW and New Japan and kind of foster the relationship a little more.
Yeah. I think that the streak of no members of the Shield having a world championship sure didn't last very long.
No, what was it, 2 weeks?
Yeah, about 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, which is remarkable when you think about it.
And before that 2 weeks, the last time it happened was, I mean, definitely early pandemic at the earliest, right? Like, that's how long it's been, and it went away for 2 weeks and then came back again. And Alex Fireheart says, kind of feel bad for Naito because he's effectively the de facto ace now that Okada's jumped ship and his reign got cut out after 2 successful defenses. And Tim
That's
Wilkes
kind of
says
interesting, though.
Japan's biggest title is now based in America.
Yeah, that is like Naito never holds the belt for long.
Yeah, that's kind of his thing.
And it also works into, you know, the story he had when he first won the belt, Stardust Genius, or first competed for the belt, Stardust Genius getting knocked into the second main spot under the Nakamura match. Like, that's the story of Naito.
Yeah.
Let's talk about injuries. Matt Cardona has a torn pec that requires surgery. That sucks. Even more sucking, I would say, Rhea Ripley had to relinquish her championship due to a shoulder injury that occurred during the backstage attack by Liv Morgan last week.
Yeah, and it wasn't the chair shot. It was the run into the wall afterwards, surprisingly.
And apparently there is zero heat on Liv, either from, like, I've been reading some sheets, either from Rhea or anyone else. Like Rhea said, fuck it, it's one of those things, apparently.
Yeah, it was. When you watch it, it was one of those things, like, when you watch it and if you know wrestling, Rhea took that bump. It wasn't what Liv did. It was Rhea throwing herself into that wall to make it look good. It's just one of those things that happens, unfortunately.
But Liv is going in a very interesting direction. It's a really interesting direction that I saw on Monday. She's a heel. She's clearly a heel now who doesn't understand why she's a heel. And I think that could be so good. That could just be so good. And she's someone who can kind of pull it off really, really well. It's such a shame for Rhea. Rhea is a massive baby face. And when she comes back, she is going to be and a shoulder's what, Todd? About minimum 4 weeks, but a maximum usually about 3 months.
Yeah. I think you're looking at maybe on the heavier end of that, only because they made her give up the title. I think if it was only going to be like 4 to 5 weeks, they could have got away with her not doing any defenses and just doing promos and shit, because they've done that sort of thing before with her. But I've got a feeling this is going to be a longer thing for her.
Tim Wilkes asked, was Rhea already nursing an arm injury anyway? Rhea had a little niggle with the wrist on the opposite arm. So this is an injury to, I believe, her right shoulder. And she'd been wearing a brace on her left wrist. So that wasn't...
If you watch the video, like, the point of her shoulder just went straight into the wall. So
the existing injury wasn't so much an injury as it was just a niggle, is my understanding. You know, you wrestle 4 or 5 nights a week for however long, you end up with bits that hurt, and her wrist was sore, so she had it in a brace. I think that obviously you never want to see people injured. I think time off TV and off the road is going to lead to the best Rhea Ripley we've ever seen. And that's a crazy thought.
Alex Fireheart says, curious if Liv takes Rhea's spot in Judgment Day because Rhea can't really come back a heel. I don't think so. I do not think so. It seems like they're moving Damien up as the leader of Judgment Day now, which I'm fine with. He's got the title. He should be the leader. But I think she's going to come back in an interesting direction. And if Liv does become go into Judgment Day, what happens with Dom Dom? because you can't break up wrestling's golden couple.
What are they going to do to Beck and Keanu?
Yeah. It's funny that you mentioned like taking them off the road, because apparently that's what they've done now with Adam Cole for AEW, because his injury was taking longer to repair because he was constantly on like doing promos and on shows like that. So now they've just sent him home to heal up. So who knows how long that timetable is as well. And also I saw something tonight where they just wished him the best of luck in his recovery. Sorry, Pario magazine said interested to see what happens with WSW World Series Wrestling and Cardona. So I'm guessing his timetable for return will be before June. So maybe it'll be like a month and a bit. Because it's like the end of June, isn't it? Is when the World Series Wrestling Tour is 28th.
Correct.
It starts.
Correct.
So you're looking at like
a little over 2 months.
6, yeah. So you look like 8 weeks. So like if it's minor surgery, 8 weeks it looks like it's probably very doable for him to come back and still be able to work the World Series Wrestling shows.
Yeah. Keanu notes that Finn versus Damian he feels like is building. Tim Wilkes also saying in terms of Rhea that the return will be Triple H 2002 in the Garden like.
Well, it depends if she goes to the Macedonian Hall or the Garden. Whichever one she goes to will be
the Latvian Hall,
sorry, mate. Latvian Hall.
Sorry. Would blow.
It was a question I asked 3 months ago. You think I remember it? But either way, it's going to be huge.
I'm going to smash through this next story because it's not something I want to spend a lot of time on, because I don't think we have anything interesting to add to it. But we do want to talk about it briefly. AEW has been warned by the Oklahoma commissioners to not have Nyla Rose wrestle in the state again due to Nyla being transgender. It seems like there was a previous quote-unquote infringement, in which case a transgender wrestler had appeared for a local wrestling organization, and the Oklahoma Athletic Commission sent some, whether it was a fine or I don't know what the deal was, but had an issue with that independent promotion. And then when Nyla main evented, or Nyla was on a show in Oklahoma, that promotion said, hey, how come Nyla Rose is allowed to do it? And so the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission put out some information that, and I'm not going to read through it, but basically they misgendered Nyla Rose, used incorrect pronouns, to say that the form was filled out as a female without mentioning any transition, and that they've been warned not to do it again. Look, fuck Oklahoma, fuck the Oklahoma Athletic Commission. I'm sure there are good people in Oklahoma.
I was going to say, let's not fuck Oklahoma. Fuck the commission, okay?
Yes.
Poor Oklahomans are just sitting going, huh? It's the Athletic State Commission. That's 100% what it is. And if I was just, this is one time I think that all wrestling at the moment should like band together. I'm talking AEW, WWE, and just not run. Make a point of boycotting it until this thing gets fixed.
Yep.
Because it's not right.
Also worth noting that the Oklahoma State Athletic Commission, their applications for boxing, kickboxing, and MMA all ask if someone has had gender reassignment surgery. The wrestling application does not. So why is it that that's something that is organized for the other sports and not wrestling, and they take this stance on it? It's ridiculous. Fuck this.
Look, honestly, those commissions only have wrestling on there to make a little extra money, because they take I think they take a percentage of the door.
You know what this is? Bullshit. Absolute bullshit.
Thank you, Jeff.
Remember, before anything else, you're dealing with a human being. Remember, before anything else, Nyla Rose has feelings and she is a human being. Fucking disgusting. Absolute first class bullshit.
All right. It seems like this is some absolute chicken shit. I think we're universally agreed that this is chicken shit. While we're in that mode, does anyone else have any chicken shit to add? Because if you guys don't say the one that I'm about to say, I'll throw it in for all three of us again.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one before you, and I think I know which one you're going to say, but I'm going to say one before you go ahead and say this. Today on Dynamite, Deanna Purrazzo and Mariah May had a match, and it was terrible. They missed spots. You could see air. You could see air. It was just not good. I mean, and it just didn't from my end.
For me,
it just didn't work. For me, it didn't work at all, and it's a shame because they're both great talents. It's also problematic that the crowd are not taught to care about people a lot in AEW because once you get warm to them, they disappear. See Garcia, Daniel. So it's really hard to do that.
Todd?
Mine is a little thing, and it's more on the production side of, and I think we talked about this on the weekend, like the Starrcast weekend, because I watched a little bit of MCW before we went to the weekend, and just like the roaming cam was shaky as hell in a lot of places there, to the point where there was points where I almost got dizzy watching it. So it's a little thing, I know, but it's also something that was off-putting as I watched that show. I don't know if you caught it as well, Lachlan.
Sure did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was uncomfortable to watch.
I do have one more. It's not a full-on chicken shit, but it's a bit shitty in some ways. Digital Beard, Owen, is a mainstay of Melbourne wrestling for as long as I've been watching. And I remember when Crackerjack and Lockie were fighting, they threw him whenever there was we were sitting front row, and whenever there was a drawing pin spot, Owen would just turn around to us and go, "Heads down, boys." So we wouldn't get drawing pins near us. That's the kind of person Owen is. I speak volumes about Owen. He's a lovely, lovely man. And he's taking a break from shooting wrestling. He's been doing it for a long time. And, I hope you enjoy it.
Didn't he get like his dream job or something? So it's not exactly a bad thing. He got his dream job, so he's going to do that.
Well, he's doing some scoring for AFL, and I think doing both has exhausted him.
Yeah.
But he's a magnificent, really, really lovely person.
That was one of the bad spots about the weekend, because I was actually keen to meet him.
Yeah, he's tops. I mean, his wonderful fiance Rosie was around, and I know I kind of did I introduce you, or did you?
Yeah,
kind of say hi? Yeah, I think I did. I think I introduced you to Rosie. I'm really going to miss you, Owen, and I hope when you return, you're all good, mate, and I look forward to seeing you again.
All right, here's a show-wide chicken shit that we all knew was coming. Why did they turn Chad Gable heel? Dumb move. We all loved what was going on with Chad Gable. We all said for weeks they're going to turn Chad Gable heel, and I don't want it. And what did they do? They turned Chad Gable heel. Fuck, man. That was such a good run. Wasted.
Well, it is shit, but then I saw something on X, and I went, ooh. And that was the Creed brothers. One of the Creed brothers on X just went ready, willing, and that was the whole tweet. Ooh. So if they come up with a Team Gable with those two, that's pretty cool.
Here's my thought on this. If they were going to turn Gable, they had to do it on Sammy. They had to do it specifically in Montreal, because otherwise it would have been like Becky turning on Charlotte. I feel that they're still running the risk of this not working. Gable is over, and over as a face. They're running a big risk of this backfiring on them.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot on the follow-up promo.
Yeah.
And it could just be along the lines of what I said.
Yeah.
Like, you stole everything from me. You stole everything. You even stole my story. My story was my daughter was crying, and all of a sudden, you have a son that cries. Oh no! Do you know what I mean? That could be a perfect like explanation of why he attacked Sammy.
Yeah, but I still think they're going to have it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. I'm looking forward to getting out the popcorn on Tuesday morning and seeing why.
We've got a chicken shit here from Alex Fireheart that says, unfortunately, the same as last week to a point. I randomly tuned into the Japanese promotion Gleech show last night, only to see people standing over someone in the ring who wasn't moving much. Rewinding, it turned out to be someone going for a low tackle, got a knee in the face, and it knocked him loopy. First move of the match. Thankfully, they ended it right away, and the KO'd wrestler was tended to, but yeah, hope the guy is all right. Look, it is good to hear that we are ending the matches when people get knocked loopy, because it is not worth the risk.
That's not so much a chicken shit when you look about it. At least they looked after their safety. The safety was first and foremost, like the important thing. They didn't go, I'll just go to the finish. They just finished it when the guy was out. So not so much a chicken shit, but I get what you mean, Alex.
But a good move as we go up from things that made us sad to things that make us more glad. It's chicken salad time. Now, obviously, a chicken salad for all three of us is going to be the excellent time we had at Starrcast this past weekend. Just fantastic seeing all of the big names, so much wrestling to go around. We've got a chicken salad here from Tim Wilkes saying the end of the J start of Sammy one shot was a freaking masterpiece. You boys, I'm going to challenge you to come up with a chicken salad that's not just the Starrcast weekend. I might throw it to Todd. No? A head shake from Todd?
That's my chicken salad. That's my chicken salad.
Yeah, all right, Todd, take it away.
I've got a couple. And yeah, I agree completely, Tim. It was beautiful. Firstly, and you boys both know this, but I had Jordan Grace and Jody Threat on my show over the weekend, and they were hilarious. I said to Lachlan about 20 times during the Stampede, I said, I just had Jordan Grace on my show. I just had Jordan Grace, the TNA or Impact Women's World Champion, on my WrestleBrania show. I mean, complete disclosure, and I said this to Lachlan at the time, sometimes it doesn't always hit me exactly who's sitting there until after the show. And now I've had Robbie Eagles twice. It's kind of like, oh yeah, I'll get Robbie again. But Jordan Grace is someone special, and that is fantastic. And Keanu says, seeing Jody and Jordan give you all stunners was hilarious. Yeah, it was great. It was a wonderful way to finish it. Well sold, Todd, and your foot was quite comfortable to lean on. I also, another thing to do with Starrcast, and that was Elaine Hope. I spoke to Elaine during the break, and she was crying happy tears. And I've known Elaine for a long time, and that kind of got me in the warm and fuzzies. So it was really, really nice to see someone be that positive about this industry and play a small part in it and know what they're doing and have that future. Good for you, Elaine. I'm getting a bit choked up saying it. My other chicken salad, of course, was on Monday Night Raw this week. There was a lovely tag match. There was a beautiful three-way tag match that DIY won and are now the inaugural challengers to the Awesome Truth. I think we're going to see a bit of heel work from DIY coming around the corner, and I'm all in for that. It's only because Raw does not have enough heel tag teams. So they need another one, and the easiest one to turn to DIY. Unless, as you say, could be the Creeds, but either way, kind of interesting.
What do you think of those new belts?
Lovely. I've gotten away from the fucking dollar coin belts. Really, really nice belts. What do you guys think?
I really like the belts.
Yeah,
I think
they keep within the theme of the show. They keep within the theme of the world titles. That's what I like about it. I don't know if they're going to do the same on SmackDown.
I think they will.
I hope so. I think they might. Yeah. My chicken salad, again, I'm trying to be more specific than just Starrcast was great. So here's a couple of things. First off, and I swear this is not just because I know he's going to harm me. It was so nice seeing Edward Dusk get a title win. I was so not expecting it. And I also know that Dusky's partner also was not aware of it happening, and hearing the pop come out, what an awesome moment. It was very cool to see those titles change hands. But more than that, seeing the way that the international talent who worked with the Aussie Stars responded to them was phenomenal, right? Going on X the next day and seeing, you know, Jordan Grace tweeting about Delta, saying, someone's got to sign her soon. I hope it's TNA. Seeing Moose go on Twitter and say, hey, someone sign Brooksy, right? That's so cool to see our little corner of the world that especially we here at Wrestle Radio Australia love so much. Like, these are the guys we talk about all the time, and seeing them get that same respect from, you know, TNA world champions, it's huge. It's amazing. And I'm so proud of all of the people who really got the opportunity to show just how good they are. I'll jump in with Alex Fireheart before I keep going. His chicken salad, bit delayed, but he hasn't had his first match in it yet, I don't think. But shout out to Hartley Jackson for repping Australia in All Japan's Champion Carnival. If he's not the first Aussie in it, full stop, he's definitely the first in quite a while. Jag, obviously a great representative of Australia when it comes to...
It's also his birthday the other day too. Happy birthday.
There you go. Happy birthday, Jag.
And I'd like to mention my chicken salad would also be Royce. Royce Day, Sunday.
That's exciting.
You'd love to see.
And the other thing I wanted to mention as a chicken salad was meeting the people who listen, right? And I can see Todd rolling his eyes. What, Todd?
Well, because you just take all the fucking salads again.
You said yours was just Starrcast. Fuck me.
Oh, do you want to just go in
over here?
Go on.
Well, meeting me.
Fucking go on.
Obviously.
Okay.
Meeting me.
There was a couple of categories of people that really blew me away when it... Thanks, Jeff. That really blew me away when they came up and said that they listened. One was the wrestlers. That's always something that blows me away when you meet a pro wrestler and they say, I listen to the podcast. And some of them were coming up and say, I listen every week. I don't chat, but I'm there while it's live and stuff like that. And that just...
Cody isn't a heel.
That's the next thing I was going to get to. Right? So that's one thing that blows me away. And then the other thing is meeting people and they go, this is what I want to say to you about what you said on the podcast. If you know, and that was walking into Starrcast and having the person on the table dealing with tickets go, now what you said about Cody being a heel, and it's so exciting to feel that this silly bullshit that I say about this silly bullshit sport that I love so much is, you know, getting to people. It's making them think, it's making them feel and have opinions and give ideas back to me. And that's so wonderful. And it's the same as everyone that's in chat every week. You know, the Keanus and the Tim Wilkes and the Alex Firehearts of the world who are here giving us that feedback. It just absolutely warms my heart. So meeting those people in person who listen to the show and make this a thing that's worthwhile to do is just so wonderful. I can't describe it. Speaking of so wonderful, I can't describe it. If you can describe how wonderful something is, I'd love you to do it in a review on Apple Podcasts.
Do I get to do a fucking salad at all? Do I get to do one at all?
Have you got one? You were acting like
I was gonna try and say something, but then you just blew past me.
Go for it.
Don't worry about me, mate. I've been here fucking 11 years. It's fine.
I'm not worried about you, mate. Fuck.
Oh, that's fucking clear.
All right. Everybody breathe.
You know you live in Queensland, right? I can fucking get to you.
Mate, if Dusty doesn't get me first, I'll be shocked. Go on, Tom.
Yeah, and this is why I put that motherfucker on you. Look, there came a point during the weekend where I was sitting, I was watching the Stampede show, and I was sitting next to Welshie, and we were talking, and I said, it fucking astounds me that I was sitting here 11 years ago with Josh, trying to work out how we can record Skype so we didn't have to get away to make sure we were next to each other to record the show every week, just because like that sort of shit is just it's hard to work out sometimes. But to go from that to earlier in the year having like Jeff doing the press for WWE to where we were right then, sitting in the press / workers area for those shows, being able to have like the press passes where we can go and talk to people, to being on something like the pre-show with the WrestleBranians doing that shit. If you'd have told me like 11 years ago, before I started to get into wrestling, that this shit was going to happen, there was no way I would have believed you. I wouldn't have believed you. I was on the same sort of show with a world champion in Jordan Grace. There's no way I could have believed that stuff. And just to have that happen over the course of like the 10, 11 years, just it blows me away how lucky I am, how lucky we all are to get to do it. Just because we happen to have a microphone and we get to talk into it every week and express our views about wrestling. And that sort of stuff. That is absolute like chicken salad. Also, 1-800 lasagna. Chicken salad.
Fuck me.
Fucking
salad.
Beautiful.
What a lasagna.
I'm still fucking thinking about that thing. Like it's, oh my God. Like if you're in Melbourne, because I think it's in the Thornbury area, isn't it, Jeff?
Yeah, it's in Thornbury.
Fucking hit that place up before Melbourne, MCW or Renegades. That's fucking gold. That I'm telling you right now, you want a lasagna? Hit that fucking joint up. I'm going for sponsorship here.
It's fantastic lasagna. When the boys came down, I said, let's go out for dinner tonight, boys. And they both said yes. And so I said, right, I'm taking you somewhere real special. And we knew it was.
And I got to be honest with you. When you said 1-800 lasagna, I thought it was going to be like a fucking Pizza Hut.
in the wall, styrofoam box.
Yeah.
100%. That's what I thought it was going to be.
No, it's a very nice restaurant.
I thought it was just going to be a chain restaurant, honestly.
No.
But it was fucking amazing. And also, like, to add on to what you said, Lachlan, just having people that not so much the workers, because I kind of knew the workers listened to the show for the most part over the years, but just having fans know, like having fans come up and say, I listened to the show, yada yada yada. And like even when there was one point where Welsh and I were leaving the mining, the what's it called?
Money exchange.
The money exchange. And like there was a couple of great, and we overheard a couple of great, they're the guys from the podcast. And that sort of thing, it just trips me out because it's just us sitting in our houses talking to each other every week.
Oh, I also want to chip in with one more piece of chicken salad, and that is had a really lovely chat with Jamie from Pario and Oz Rest Cards, and he's just a legend. So really nice to talk, Jamie, and thanks for swinging by and the lovely words we shared. Yeah, I thought it was
also
great.
I think Jamie now calls the Natural Classics the Beige Brothers as well. So I'm quite happy with that.
And it was really nice to spend time with you boys.
Yeah, it was lovely having the three of us together. Look, so obviously that was a little bit sappy from us because we did really enjoy talking to everyone. And if you want to talk to us, the best place to do it is at twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia, where you can hit the follow button to get notified every time we go live. If you love what we're doing, you can hit the subscribe button there. If you want to talk to Jeff, or at least see Jeff performing as part of his baby WrestleBrania, where can they do that this weekend, Jeff?
This weekend is the last show for a little while. We are going to be in our home of the Catfish at 7:30 on Sunday night. Tickets are on sale now through the Comedy Festival website.
It's what I do, Jamie. It's what I do.
Everyone who is going to be at Renegades, please come along. Do the double. It's going to be fun. And shows are always wild with Cracker Jack. I can't explain that enough. So we want to fill the place. Come along, have some fun. If you see me, have a chat with me. See what we can do, yeah? If you're financially struggling, just have a chat with me and I'll see what I can do for you.
So
get along to those shows because they are really fun.
Yeah. Pario Magazine says, I'm Team Lachlan now. Woohoo! Let's go. Look,
who's Lachlan?
That's a great...
I see there is Ricky.
If you want to have a chat with Jeff, that's a great way to do it. If you want to have a chat with Todd or I, you can chat with Todd at Beast Eastman on the old X. You can find me at Lachlan Albert. You can also find Jeff at Jeff_Seti. You can find WrestleBrania at Wrestle_Brania. And if you want to follow the show, it's at Wrestle Radio AU on Twitter and on Instagram. It's Wrestle Radio Australia on Facebook, where we're also live and you can be part of the conversation. Again, if you want to get a hold of our merch, Redbubble, search for Wrestle Radio Australia. You'll be able to find it there. And all the proceeds go to Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, supporting men's mental health here in Australia. Make sure you subscribe to Wrestle Radio Australia, whether it's on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. It is free. So make sure you do that. And please do let us know what you're thinking about Aussie wrestling. Is there anything else that we've got to plug, boys?
No.
No, don't forget that there is a Bret Hart thing at PCW on Friday night. I think there's still a handful of tickets left. So Bret Hart is doing, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a meet.
It's a Q&A.
It's a Q&A with Bret Hart. That is going to be phenomenal. That is just going to be absolutely amazing. So get along to that.
Yeah, and
so also next week, sorry. Come on, Lachlan.
If you want to catch the shows that we talked about tonight, obviously PWA Ringmasters is going to be live on YouTube tomorrow night, April 19th at 8 p.m, coming live from the Sydney Spiegel tent. If you want to check out MCW Icons, you can do that by going to Stream Horizon. Is that correct, Todd? And purchasing it there for just $9.99 for the whole show. Or if you're subscribed to what was formerly Fight TV and is now Triller, you can catch it on Triller. Todd?
I think next week maybe we'll talk a little bit about Renegades because Jeff will be there, so he'll give us a bit of a rundown on that. Maybe we watch Ringmasters. We can talk about that.
And there's also AEW Dynasty.
Yeah, we'll give Dynasty a little run over as well. But I think because we're an Australian podcast, I think Ringmasters is probably the one we should up front. That we should put AEW where it is, and that is second on the bill.
That's right.
PWA goes first. I think
that's exactly right. And if you're excited for Ringmasters, make sure that you are subscribed to the podcast because Todd's conversation with Robbie Eagles about that show is going to be coming up soon, as well as some content that we managed to make at Starrcast down in Ballarat, which will be coming to you as soon as it is cut together. So make sure that you're tuning into everything Wrestle Radio Australia on behalf of Jeff Seti and Todd Eastman. I've been Lachlan Albert. Till next time, have a good one.
Here's the thing.
Every time.
Ball one. Andre. Yes! From nowhere. Ball two. Armbar.
Who are you to doubt